Hi, everybody. It's Laurie Wetter, Director of Family Relations at All Points North Lodge, coming to you from the East Coast. And I am waiting for my guest today to come on. I see that they are definitely hooked in there. Let's see if we can get them to join. And we are joining, so just take a second or two before everything gets up. Hey, Keith, I think we got it working. So just a little bit of a slow connection. Keith Weiner is definitely my knight in shining armor. And hey, Jess, and has been helping get a non-social media person hooked up. So, okay, definitely see you there, Jess. We'll catch you in a couple weeks. So, Transcend is still waiting to catch on. I am super excited to have Joni with me today, and I'll wait for her to come on and explain how that all came about. Let me see if it works this way. It looks like we're connecting, and we
Yay! We
are.
did it!
I'm so happy.
Yes.
Thank you. It's Keith Weiner, who does our social media, has like really been so patient with me, but he's been teaching me little tricks, and it actually worked. So I'm so excited. I see my daughter-in-law is on, which I love her. Mwah, thank you. So, Joni, I'm so happy that you're on.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so for everybody that doesn't know, this is Joni Ogle. She is the Chief Executive Officer at Transcend Recovery Centers and the Heights in Houston. Did I
And
get that
LA.
correct?
It's
And LA.
Heights Treatment in Houston and LA, and Transcend Recovery Community in Houston, LA, and New York.
And actually, I have had connections with New York, so I should have remembered that piece of it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a
Yeah.
lot to remember, even for me. So,
So yeah, so for the social media world, I know that a lot of people can relate to this when older adults are getting into social media and Facebook, and their kids are like, "Mom, like, get off of social media," and it's not reality, but sometimes it is. And so what I had told Joni when we met, that well, we actually haven't officially met till now, but that I was following a bit of her story on Facebook, and there was just something about you that was so appealing to me. And then when I was looking at Transcend for one of our clients, and I saw that you were there, and I was like, wow, this is sort of meant to be. And then I saw you were doing a family support group, and I was like, definitely meant to be. Um, because I am as well. And I think that's such an important piece of the work that we do, undoubtedly. And I want to get into that.
okay.
But I want to give you an opportunity to actually tell us about yourself.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and then tell you about Transcend and Heights Treatment and kind of different aspects that we have. But I am Joni Ogle. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a certified sex addiction therapist. I've been doing the work in various settings for about 30 years, in private practice for half of that, and then in residential treatment for part of that, with adolescents for part of that. And now for the last 5 years, I've been with Transcend and came to Houston from LA to open up Houston because I was in Houston for about 15 years before. So
Wow.
this is where I had my private practice. So I came back here to open up Transcend Houston. And so in Houston, we have two homes, a male home and a female home, and then an outpatient program. we have two separate entities, which is Transcend Recovery Community, which is really the living side of it. And we call it recovery living because it's more than just sober living. You don't have to just be getting chemically sober. We also do sex addiction. We also do primary mental health in the houses. And then we have Heights Treatment, which is really the clinical arm of it, which is PHP level of care all the way down to supportive outpatient. And there we deal with sex addiction as well as primary mental health. So we kind of both go hand in hand, and ideally you're working both programs at the same time, and they're both designed for a slow reintegration back into a recovered independent life, whatever that may look like for you. And both of them are kind of a slow roll. So back in, many of our clients either come right out of residential or it's a step before residential, meaning some of them can't leave their community for whatever reason at that certain time. So we're a good step up before they may have to go to residential, or to help them possibly not have to go to residential. But it really works hand in hand. We communicate weekly with our referents and the family. And part of the reason I started a family group in the evening is because when COVID hit, we all felt pretty isolated. But I noticed that in our community, our houses were doing a pretty good job at keeping everyone together in the house. And our outpatient kept the clients together, but the family was kind of like out. So I thought we really need to add support for them. And it's been the reaction to it has been, I could tell that it's well needed. So I was glad to be able to do it, and I look forward to it. It's every Thursday night at 7:00 Central Time, and it's open to the public, so anyone can join it. And we've been talking about boundaries. Tonight I have Danny, one of my therapists, speaking, who is also our director of mentoring, which is another arm that we have. It's Transcend Mentoring and Companions, and we actually do that in conjunction with, sometimes with the IOP if you're not living in the house, and or if you need additional life skills and support in the house, then we can also offer mentoring in the house. And so she's going to come on tonight. She is also specializes in Brene Brown's shame work. So she does Daring Way and Rising Strong, and she's going to introduce that to the families tonight. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Really wonderful. And and I do feel like, in isolation or not, I just feel like the families are a complete separate entity that need so much support and guidance. And so I'm also doing that. I had been doing it on Wednesday nights, and I switched over to Monday nights this past week, but the response has been overwhelming. And I think that there is so much value, in the group work, for sure. And then even knowing you're not alone.
Yes.
The stories are different, but the fears are so similar. And also, for people that have loved ones in treatment, and, I feel like that's almost the easier time. Certainly when they get out of treatment,
yes,
they need a lot of support around that too. So that was the other thing that I was so excited when I saw that you were doing a family support group. And I was like, yeah, that's really a key piece of the work that we do.
Yeah, it really is. And I think I can only speak for myself, but when you have the client in front of you, you're pretty focused on the client. And it's so important when they're going to leave us, because, I always say to parents, let us take over now. Let us set the boundaries. Let us kind of do that while they're in our care. But they're going back to your care. So we're going to have to work with you and help you do this too. And it's scary. It's scary to set boundaries, and it's even more scary to hold them. So
Right.
that's what we've really been talking about, the follow through on it, and how important it is that it doesn't become a threat, that it's truly a boundary that's held and doesn't move urgently.
Yeah, that was one of the topics of our meeting on Monday. and what boundaries look like. And,
Yes.
they can be very loving, but they're
Yes,
definitely there to protect
absolutely.
us.
Absolutely. I tell them all the time it's the most loving thing we can do is to
Yes.
set and hold a boundary.
Yeah.
And it's freaking hard.
Yes, it is. Which is why we need all of this support around.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
I
for
know.
parental instinct, it feels opposite, right? It feels
Totally.
like we have to love and support constantly. And Asher Gottesman, the founder of Transcend Recovery Community, has a great quote, which is that we love unconditionally, but we support conditionally. And so I really try to give that to my parents. Like, this isn't about withdrawing or withholding love. This is actually about giving love and holding boundaries, because it gets confusing. It
Mm.
and we know all too well that the addict typically knows language that will hurt and will get them to move that boundary, and not being loved is a big trigger point. So we really stress, no, 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 you love unconditionally, but we support conditionally.
Yeah, that's a really important line. And I've read some of Asher's blogs that he was doing for a while. I
Yeah,
would get one every Friday, and yeah, he's a really good writer. He's got some interesting stuff in there. So
yes, he does.
that's a really important point to make. Um, and then I would say, how long typically does a client stay in your program at Transcend or the Heights?
It depends. So we typically like them to stay at least 90 days. That's not always the case. And we've had
Hmm.
people stay up to a year. So it really depends individually what your plan is and how long it's going to take for you to kind of get if it's a life in which it's been interrupted by drugs and alcohol to the point that you've lost your career, or you haven't ever begun a career, or you didn't get to complete school. It just depends where in the process of life you are and how long it's going to take for us to help you get that kind of back on track. We like to have you have a solid plan before you leave. So I really look at, like, when you come in, we help structure your day for you, and we help provide that. Level 2 that we have is really you telling us what your structure is going to look like, and then level 3 is you mastering that structure and really getting ready to launch back into your independent life with our support. We always say, once you've been in Transcend, you always are a member of the Transcend community. So you can always come back to the houses. You can always check in with our alumni, our mentors. We want to keep you in our fold so that if anything starts to go awry, we can help.
So, we have a young lady that came to you yesterday, and like, I've been holding her so close to my heart. The people that come to treatment through me, yeah, really do touch my heart, and I feel so good about kind of turning her over to you for the next steps. And, if you can just share with her that our whole community is sending love her way.
I
And
absolutely will.
yeah, and I'm so appreciative for you joining me today. Can you tell people how they can reach you?
Absolutely. You can reach, well, we are Transcend Recovery Community on Instagram. You can reach us by following us that way, or you can reach out to, I'm Joni O at Transcend Recovery Community. We have a website, Transcend Recovery, and we also have the Heights Treatment, which is a website that you can join. So, and peruse and see our outpatient. So please feel free to reach out if you have any further questions. We'd love to help.
That's great. Thank you so much again for joining me today. I'm so happy to have gotten to know you a bit.
You too, Laurie. Thank you for having me. It was an honor. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll touch base some other time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.